Welcome to the Arts to Hearts podcast, a show where we take a peek into the hearts and lives of our favorite artists. From running a creative business and practice to mindset, we talk about everything that goes behind into making a life and a career that you adore as an artist. Think of this as your happy hour with your favorite artist in your studio. Hear them share the messy and the wonderful side of creating and living a creative, heartfelt life within and outside our studios. As you tune in, be ready to be inspired and encouraged. I'm your host, Charuka Arora, an artist, designer, entrepreneur, and founder of Arts to Hearts project. Thank you so much for being here. Let's jump right in. This episode is a part of a special expert takeover series where artists, gallerists, curators, and other industry experts guest host a special episode and share some actionable tips, personal experiences, and valuable learnings with you. I hope you enjoy this episode and share with others.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me as an expert takeover for Arts to Hearts podcast. My name is Leahs Guzman, and today I'm going to be talking about healing and art therapy. I am a board certified art therapist, and I live in Miami, Florida with my beautiful family. And I have an art practice as an artist, and I also offer art therapy to creatives who need support and showing up for their best selves, right? Showing up authentically. So I help them build their self-confidence, manage and regulate their emotions, and deal with things that are happening in their life where they need someone to hold space for them. And I'm also an author. So I recently wrote the book Essential Art Therapy Exercises. So what I wanted to focus on today was just talking about what is art therapy and give you some tips about how you can incorporate it into your life. So art therapy is a psychotherapeutic approach that deals with managing people's emotions, helping people express themselves through art. So it's a little bit of, I would say, counseling, psychology, and using art to express those feelings, right? So sometimes I get the question is, do I analyze people's art? No, that's not my job. My job is to help people understand their own art, understand what the symbolism, the meaning of how, what's showing up in their lives and how they are being influenced, right? So, there are times in your life where you would need to see someone to help you. Like, so if you are feeling stuck somewhere, right? So like, for example, if you're dealing with a certain kind of trauma of a loss of a loved one or divorce, some sort of life transition, or you're just feeling really stuck because you have so much anxiety or depression or some sort of fear or doubt, right? And you can't seem to get past those emotions to, show up as your best self. And so what happens is if you go seek support from an art therapist, you're able to have a relationship with them where they can help you with that life, whatever's happening in your life, such as showing you like certain patterns that have made you get stuck, right? Because sometimes when we're in our lives, we might not be able to see, why things keep showing up for us. And so the art therapist is mostly to hold space for you to help you process that emotion, right? And there are some times where you can do things on your own, just because art in itself is therapeutic. Just creating 45 minutes of art can reduce cortisol levels, those are that stress hormone. So just creating art is therapeutic. But when you think about our behaviors and our thoughts, those type of things, we get stuck in our head, and we can't really see it for ourselves of those patterns that we have. So that's why it's cool to be able to self-reflect on your art. And it's also cool to have someone there to help and support you see those patterns. So most of the creatives that I offer support to get stuck with their self-worth, of their confidence, so being able to show up and share their art with the world, whether they're starting a business or just just getting in touch with themselves, right? So it's a lot of self-development and just looking at, what's my life purpose and who am I and what's the best direction to go, right? So looking for clarity. And so art can do that for you. Art can show you like the next best step. Another thing that a lot of the creatives that I work with, they have issues with money, right? So going back to that self-worth of how to price your art and understanding your own patterns with money and your own relationship with money, right? Or getting stuck with consistent creative flow, right? How to nurture that relationship with your art practice, right? It's so important to be consistent with our art practice, but there are times when we kind of lose ourselves, and it's totally normal, right? And above all, just helping creatives manage their emotions, being able to regulate and be stable and feel good about themselves. So I know this from, I say I work with creatives with this, but I know it from my own personal experience. I've been an artist all my life, and I've had my own ebbs and flows where I actually needed to find support as well. So I went and saw an art therapist when when my anxiety was super high and I was having bouts of depression. It was when my kids were really, really little, and I was practicing art therapy, and I wasn't giving any time to myself. I wasn't creating art. I would wake up at 3:00 in the morning, crying, and go hide in the bathroom, just write in my journal. And wasn't sure why this was happening when I had everything that I needed. I had all the love and support. I had a home. But the thing is that I wasn't giving to myself. And so that time it helped me when I saw an art therapist, because they showed me that I needed to have some boundaries and stop being a people pleaser, right? They showed me my patterns, that I needed to make some changes and really put some boundaries up and create a structure so that I can create and be productive. So that was pretty amazing. So part of the tips that I want to show you for today is talk to you about is just honor where you're at, honor whatever you're feeling, because there's so much life experience in the dark side. I mean, that's one of the beautiful things about being human, is that we get to have this wide range of emotions. We get to go to the dark night of our souls to, feel all these different feelings, whether it's anger, depression, anxiety, these life experiences that we have, make our life rich, even though it's hard. But if you could just honor what it is, whatever it is that you're feeling, and do that, so that you don't get stuck. Because what happens if you don't honor those feelings, they will get stuck. That energy will get stuck within you, and it'll, you'll end up either physically feeling it, or could turn into disease or lead to other problems. So that's why you want to move the emotion, right? So that's why emotion is emotion, move that emotion, right? So you want to move it, and you need to release it. And that's what's so beautiful about the art, is that you can, use it as a cathartic experience. Always be checking in, use your journal, use your journal to just draw out whatever that emotion is. And it doesn't have to be anything that you're going to share on Instagram or post about it, or it's just for you. I have a journal myself that, I have plenty of just ugly art, just because it's just an expression. It's just this thing that I need to get out for that moment, because I don't want to hold it in, right? So there's many different ways that you can go about it, whether you want to journal or just go for a run. But art is a great way to always check in, see how you're feeling, and write it out. Because art is an extension of yourself. Everything in life is connected. So if we do get stuck somewhere, if we don't express that emotion, it's going to show up in other areas, right? So for up leveling, we have to really look at all areas of our life. So how we're doing financially, how we're doing with our family relationships, how are we doing with our own self-care, or our business, or our projects and goals, right? All of those are interconnected. So when we can really start to focus on that energy for each one of those and how we're feeling about them, that's where we can start to up level and start manifesting those things that we want, right? So a lot of times I like to think about, what is in my life that might need healing, right? Like thinking about what's showing up, you know, what kind of relations are showing up for me, because everything is like a mirror, right? And if anything is being triggered within myself, or even for my clients, right? That shadow self is that unconscious part of ourself that does need healing, right? So if you're being triggered by anything, take it as a opportunity to dive deeper, right? And say, what is it within this person that's, when I'm around them, that I feel something, right? That feels, maybe it's uncomfortable, right? So this gives you that opportunity to say, what is it about myself? Is it like jealousy or anger or rage or disappointment or not good enough, right? If you're feeling any of those things, then that's that part of you that might need healing. And everything goes back to when you're younger, right? From those life experiences that we've had. And we never know what's going to stick, right? They say that one ugly thing that was said to you, maybe someone called you stupid, that one thing that if that stuck to you, if you really started to believe it and you thought that was your truth, man, I must be really stupid because I keep doing this, or I've done that before. It'll take 14 positive compliments to unstick that negative, right? So it's 14 positive things that would change that belief, right? So one negative can be really harsh. So just going back to, what our thoughts are, what's showing up for your life, and what might need to be healed, right? Because a lot of times when we need our own healing, it could be projected onto other people, where we could start to judge people, or project that onto other people. And we might not even be conscious of it. But if it's a pattern that keeps coming around, there's a lesson there. There's some juiciness that needs to be uncovered. Yeah, so that's what I love about art, especially journaling, is because, it's definitely self-care. I know I do make large pieces and small pieces, and I do sell my art, but I just feel like it's an important practice to be consistent, even when you lose it. If you stop creating, just recommit. Don't beat yourself up about it. We all go through ebbs and flows, and things happen. We get busy and things like that, but just recommit. Don't beat yourself up. Just because that creative flow is going to make it feel really, really, really good. And use your art to gain clarity, right? That's one beautiful thing that I love in my practice, is that, I really believe that art is your oracle. Anytime that I want to manifest anything in my life, whether it's like calling in a new client, or even my new kitchen, I will always draw it out. It's like I draw out, who is my who do I want to call in, like who do I want to work with, what energy do I want to feel, and I actually create that. I create that in my journal. I journal about it, and for my dreams and my clients' dreams, of just really start envisioning that life, like what your ideal day is like, right? What does it feel like when you wake up in the morning, right? What do you want to do? Who do you want to be with? How do you want to spend your time? Really like think about that, about like, what does that look like for you, and journal about it. Like, what's that abundant life that you deserve, that you're totally worthy of? And make art about it. And that's what's going to show up for you, right? Because energetically, as you create art about it, you're going to feel good, right? You're going to be bringing that into your world. So, you can use art to release. That's that healing. It's that self-care. It's nurturing your soul. And it's also going back to manifesting, because when you are in a good space, when you are in that alignment, you are going to be able to easily manifest. Your desires come really easily when you're in that, totally like aligned space, when you're in that flow. So that's why we don't want to beat ourselves up, just have self-compassion with those negative emotions, with when times get tough, when we are experiencing anxiety or doubt or things like that, but just come back just come back to yourself of knowing of your worth and knowing that you should only have the best, right? Another thing about having art as your oracle and being able to create art and then looking back and saying, what message does this have for me? Write about that. What's showing up, and why is this important? What's its message? Because all art has a message. It's an extension. It's part of, connecting with source energy, and then coming back to say, what do you want me to know? What's the information here? I always learn something about myself when I'm creating. I'm like, that's my next best step, right? Even when I was talking about like calling my clients and like creating art about that. It's like, okay, well, maybe I should contact this or go this certain direction, right? Because of that, and then magical things will happen. Okay, so I hope I was able to kind of give you an overview of my practice of my art therapy, and how I help creatives with their emotions, being able to, do that nurturing and self-care. So I'm hoping that you'll be able to take some nuggets out of that, where, do some journaling for yourself. And if any time where you feel too much overwhelmed or you are stuck, getting help is not a weakness. So just want to put that out there, that, find someone that you feel really comfortable with. I always think that like therapy is kind of like dating, to find someone that you do like resonate with, that, that you feel like is a good fit, so that you can be able to open up and trust the person, right? And be able to release whatever needs to be let go of, so that you can like step into your full authentic self. So that's pretty much what I wanted to share with you today. I hope it was beneficial. And if you'd like to continue on this journey of getting to know each other, you can find me. My website is www.leahguzman.com. And on social media, I'm Leah Guzman Art, which is where I place my art. I have Art Therapy Online, where I share a lot of techniques and tips and tools about art therapy. And then the Creative Soul Society is my membership group, where we meet monthly to make art, but healing and manifesting. All right. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, and I look forward to getting to know you as well. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. You can find all the details and links mentioned in the show notes of this episode available on www.arts2heartsproject.com. And if you like this episode, please don't forget to tag us in your stories and leave us a review here on iTunes or any of your favorite platforms. It really helps us to keep the show going. Thank you so much. I'm sending you lots of love, and I can't wait to be back here soon again. Bye.